Joining me now is Nebraska Republican Congressman Don Bacon. Congressman, welcome.
Thank you, Mike.
So the Republican leader of the California Assembly is blasting Governor Gavin Newsom. I want to play it. I'll get you to react, sir.
The person who doesn't believe in free and fair elections is Gavin Newsom, because he is right now, after last election where we actually had some pretty big gains here in California, where many voters started voting differently. He's trying to change the map so that we are denied our ability to get representatives of our choice, taking Republican members of Congress down to 7% when we make up about 40% of the voting bloc in California.
Congressman, what do you make of California's reaction to Texas?
Well, I have mixed feelings. I know what's motivating Republicans is the state of Illinois. When you look at how egregious that gerrymandering is in Illinois, and that leaves Republicans in other states saying, why didn't we do the same thing? And I feel for the Republicans in California because they've already been gerrymandered. There's only 9, I believe, Republicans in California out of that big state of 50+ members of Congress. So, I totally can empathize with the gentleman's opinion there. But right now, if all the states gerrymander, the Democrats and the Republicans will pick up about 10 seats. That's because the Democrats have done it a lot better in the past than Republicans. And I think Republicans are saying, why should we give this advantage to Democrats? I think it's gotten a little out of control. But if you're a Republican, you look at Illinois, you say, we should do the same thing. The problem is I hate to see this happen every 2 years. I wish we get a little stability. What's motivating us is Illinois.
How does it play out in your view? Does it ping pong from red states like Texas and Missouri to California and another blue state?
Yeah, you're going to see, Texas will definitely pick up some Republican seats by doing this. I imagine if you're a Democrat in Texas, that does not make you happy. Obviously, it did not. We'll see it in Missouri. You may see it in Ohio. But the Democrats are going to try to do the same thing in California, maybe New York. By the way, New York did redistricting 2 years ago. So this is not just a Republican issue. But in the end, Mike, if both sides do this, the Republicans are going to pick up seats because the Democrats have been more effective at this in the years past.
So what's at stake here, sir, in terms of next year's midterms and what that means for the final 2 years of the Trump presidency?
Well, right now, the country's so evenly divided, you're going to see maybe swings of 10, maybe on the top side 15 seats in these elections, unlike in the years past where you'd see 40 or 50, which means if you can pick up 10 seats through redistricting, a net gain, that is a significant number for either party, right? So this will have an impact, I believe, in the midterms. And how it will affect people's voting, I don't know that it'll have that significant effect. I do believe it is a midterm year with your president, with your party in the White House. It's always a little more uphill. So the Republicans are going to have our work cut out for us in 2028, just based on history, and go back 100 years, that's what's been happening, right? So we're going to work cut out for us. However, if with the tax policies and the energy policies, the immigration policies that we're working on, I hope the voters will see a lot of progress and reward that. It's a little too early to say, though.
Congressman, it's been 4 years since the haphazard withdrawal from Afghanistan. As someone who has worn the military uniform of the United States, what are your reflections, sir?
Well, I've never been more angry in my life at a president than when this happened. It was a botched withdrawal. I disagreed with President Trump when he was negotiating with the Taliban without the Afghan government. So I've been free with my criticism there. And I thought the initial plan from President Trump was not good. However, it was conditions-based, and the Taliban did not meet those conditions. And President Biden made a decision on his own to disregard those conditions and withdraw our forces. And what we had 3,500 troops in Afghanistan, not in combat. They were in garrison. We did have our Air Force, and we had our mechanics working on Afghan Air Force airplanes. And when the president made a decision in that July to withdraw our Air Force and our mechanics, and then he told everybody, hey, the government will stay there for 2 years. That's their estimate. Well, it took 2 weeks because the Afghan military was used to our Air Force and Afghan Air Force support. And also, he withdrew the military before the civilians. That was a mistake. And he released the terrorists, and it ended up being one of those terrorists that killed 13 Americans. This is what really makes me mad. Our chairman of the Joint Chiefs and the commander of CENTCOM both disagreed with the president's plan, and they got overruled. And the president later said nobody disagreed with him in the White House. And then we find out, no, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs did, and so did the commander of CENTCOM, and he overruled him. Now, this was a botched withdrawal. And, you know, I lost I knew 5 people who got killed in Afghanistan. And all of us military guys are wondering, was this all worth it? What the president did, made us all question, was that loss worth it? And that's why we had an increase in mental health with our veterans and suicides. Yeah. Our veterans were deeply impacted by this because we invested over 2 decades into this, and to have our president in a very half-assed way withdraw our forces, it was a disgrace.
Congressman Don Bacon, thank you very much for your service, and I'm grateful for your time today, sir.
Thank you.